We are the morning hustle.
Black maternal health is the issue of our times, especially for anyone who is in this space talking to pregnant women, talking to families, talking to parents. And Black women are dying at a rate of 3 to 4 times that of white women. So that is the problem, and that is what we need to solve. And it's going to take all of us to get into it. And the bump is, we have a dedicated resource. It's our Black Maternal Health Hub. And that is a place where we support, we encourage, and we empower our parents who are going through this process. We give them medical information. They want to know about the legislation. What are the rules that are getting passed, the laws that are getting passed to support them. We also want to be a support to help them feel like they can reclaim their power through this, because of course, the statistics and the realities of what's happening around maternal morbidity is important, but also we want our parents to be excited about this transition that they're doing. So we have interviews. We've talked to everyone from Sonia Richards-Ross to an interview that we are recently releasing with Keisha Knight Pulliam. And we're just saying, hey, there is joy in this process, but we also want you to be informed so you can talk to your medical professional and make sure that you know what's happening every step of the way. First and foremost, I'd say would start even before you're in that hospital room. Make sure that your healthcare provider is one that understands your anxieties around what's happening with Black women. If that's a conversation that you can have openly with your healthcare provider or your doctor, that's a good sign to start. And once you're in the hospital, it's also helpful to have a care team, and that could be your village. So it could be your partner, it could be your sister, it could be your parent, it could be a friend. It could also come in the form of a doula or a midwife who's helping you throughout the process. Make sure that you've got other people as your backup, right? Who you can express your concerns to and who can also advocate for you if you're in a position where you can't. And then I would say the third thing is, do not stop. If you feel like you've got questions, do not feel like you're bothering anyone. If you need them to come in the room 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, have them come in the room. And then as a last course of action, if you need it, there are also advocates that should be in the hospitals that you can express your concerns to as well. That's a big question, and that's the nut everyone's trying to crack. But if I'm just keeping it real, part of it comes down to racial bias. And without attacking the problem on all fronts, and I mean educating the doctors and the healthcare providers, educating the patients themselves, making sure that the actual hospital systems have all the resources that they need, we're not going to be able to solve it. And listen, there is onus on us to sort of be educated and know that we know the information that we need to know to ask all the right questions. But we also need to make sure that the healthcare providers are sensitive to this cause. And again, if they're not on board or at least acknowledging that this is a problem, then we're never going to solve it. So it's attacking it from a systemic standpoint, and then really just being honest about the racial bias that exists. There is a really big piece of legislation called Momnibus. That is something that I encourage everyone to Google. And there are so many pieces of this legislation that that the government is trying to get through. Congressman Lauren Underwood is one of the primary drivers of this legislation, and it's everything from advocating for more research, advocating for health lines that you can call if you've got questions, advocating for sort of free support and education of people to become midwives and become doulas. It's totally comprehensive. So that's a really big piece of legislation. And then recently there was some funding that did get passed by the Biden administration. It was a nonpartisan $100 million that did get funded, but there's still a ton of work to do, because this is not just an issue that affects Black women and Black families. It affects all families, and we have to solve it for Black women if we're going to solve it for all of us.
And for people that want more information, how can they follow you?
Well, you can find us at The Bump on all social channels, and we're at www.thebump.com, and you can find us at The Bump in the App Store as well as in Google Play. And if you want to go directly to our Black Maternal Health Hub resource, that is www.thebump/Black Maternal Health.
We are the morning hustle.